Hey guys, Erica here from Big Cat Creative, and today we're going to walk you through creating, designing, and maintaining your blog in Squarespace. It's a pretty in-depth video covering all of the Squarespace blog basics for 7.0 and 7.1. So get comfortable, open up your Squarespace site in another tab to follow along, and let's get into it.
Okay, so to get started, I have both a 7.1 website here as well as a 7.0 website. And creating your actual blog and adding it to your navigation is pretty similar between both of the two. So I'm just going to walk you through doing that first, and then we'll get into the specifics of content and adding posts and how that differs between both of the versions in just a bit. So to add a blog to your website, you're going to want to navigate into your Pages panel, which is pretty much exactly the same for both 7.1 and 7.0. And then once you're in your Pages panel, you can go ahead and add the blog to any section that you want. So either your main navigation or your not linked section. As a reminder, the main navigation is what is going to show up here in your main menu, and your not linked section won't show up anywhere on your website unless you specifically link to it. So to add that blog wherever you want, just click on the plus icon next to that section and choose blog. In version 7.1, it is going to prompt you to choose a blog layout, which is a little redundant because you can completely customize this later on. So really you can go ahead and choose whatever you want here. It really doesn't matter too much. And then go ahead and give your new blog a name and either click enter or click anywhere else outside of that, and your new blog will open up. Similarly, in 7.0, go ahead and click the plus icon next to whichever navigation you want to add the blog to and choose blog. You can then give your blog a name, click enter, and it will take you into your main blog area. Next, let's take a look at some of the blog's main settings, which are going to be pretty much identical in both 7.1 and 7.0. So I'll just show you those on one of the versions. So to access your blog main settings, you can go ahead and click on the little cog symbol to the right of your blog name while in this main blog panel. You can also go back into your Pages panel, click on the cog icon to the right of the name in your navigation as well. It'll open up the exact same settings panel. This settings panel will then pop up, and there are quite a few settings within here that are not super important, especially when you're just starting out and can be left as is, but it's still good to navigate through here and just check out everything that they have to offer so that you know that it's there if and when the time comes in the future. But the main settings that you'll want to check out are under General. You have your page title, which you can go ahead and change your navigation title that shows up in your website navigation, and then the URL slug. This is something that you want to be super clear and simple, like blog or journal or posts, whatever fits your website. And it's important for this to be simple and clear because this is going to show up in the website URL for every single blog post. So it'll be www.yourdomainname/blog or journal or whatever you have inputted here. And then the other thing under general that you'll want to take a look at the very bottom here is posts per page. And this is basically just where you can control how many blog posts will appear at a time on your main blog overview page. The max that you can do is 20, and once it hits 20, it will have a little navigate to the next page arrow that people can click to view more of your blog posts. So you can use this slider to adjust this number to whatever you want. The next thing you'll want to make sure to check out and customize is the SEO tab. We know how important SEO is, and this is where you can customize your SEO title and your SEO description. Squarespace is going to automatically pull in the name of your blog into the SEO title, but if you want to put something custom here, you can totally do that or just leave it blank. The SEO description is what people are going to see as this little description right here below the title. So it's important here to write a little sentence or two describing what your blog is generally about so that when people come across you on Google or other search engines, they'll know exactly what this blog is going to be. And then finally, under advanced, this is where you'll be able to manage your categories and your tags in bulk. So these actually get added to each post as you create them, but there may come a time where you want to delete an entire category or an entire group of tags. And to do that, you'll have to come into this main settings panel under advanced, and you can go ahead and manage everything all at once right here. So this will be important to know further down the line when you have a lot of blog posts built up, a lot of categories categories and maybe some tags, and you need to manage them in bulk. In 7.0, there is one additional setting here under the Advanced tab, and that's the post display setting. And so this just basically means when people land on your main blog page, do you want them to be able to see a full entire post right away or just a small excerpt of a post? Most people here will choose just to show an excerpt so that a visitor can land on the main blog page and get a little bit of a feel for each post before choosing which one they want to read, rather than immediately being able to view the entire most recent post. So this is totally personal preference, but you can choose what you want here, and you can also toggle this on and off later if you're not totally sure what the difference is. Okay, now that we know kind of the general idea about creating and setting up the settings for your blog, let's go ahead and get into the specifics between adding your content and customizing your content on 7.1 and 7.0. First up, let's walk through everything you need to know for blogging in Squarespace version 7.1. In 7.1, you'll notice 3 separate sections in your main blog panel here. There's pricing plans, blog overview, and blog content. The blog overview page. This is kind of like the home page for your blog. So this is where visitors can get an overall look at what type of content you post. They can sort through categories, view popular posts, and so much more. And the amazing thing about this blog overview page in Squarespace 7.1 is that you can actually customize it just like you would any regular page on your website. So you can add additional sections and pieces of content to fill out the page and make it super interesting for your viewers. You can also adjust the way your blog posts are displayed in this main blog post section, which allows for so much more freedom and creativity, which isn't necessarily available in 7.0. So to customize your blog overview page, go ahead and click Edit in the top left-hand corner, hover over this existing blog post section here, and click on Edit section. In the Format tab under Layout, you can then use this drop-down menu to navigate through the different layout options that are available to you. There's Basic Grid, which is what you see right here, Side by Side, which places all of the blogs side by side on top of one another, Masonry, which kind of creates this sort of unique masonry puzzled look, Single Column, which just puts all of the blog posts into one single tall column, and then Alternating Side by Side, which is left to right. To put these layouts into a little bit of perspective, here are a few examples from our templates. This is the Leon template using the alternating side-by-side grid, so you can see the post alternate image on the right and image on the left. This is the Ventura template using just the basic grid, which is kind of your classic blog post grid. You can't really go wrong with this grid layout. And then for one more example, this is our newest Shelly template using the masonry style grid. So you can see the pictures keep the size that they're meant to be, and it kind of just pieces them together in a puzzle-like way to create a really interesting blog feed layout. Depending on which grid layout you choose, there will be some additional design options to customize, like spacing, image ratio, text, and so much more. You can really take the time to play around here, go through all the different settings, experiment with the different options until you find something that you really like. And then in the Colors tab, you can go ahead and select one of your existing color themes to apply to that section. And if you'd like to further customize the colors for this blog post section, you can do so by clicking on the paintbrush icon in the top right-hand corner, clicking on the Colors tab here, and then choosing the theme that you're currently using for that section. So right now we are on Light 2. And then you'll scroll down in the Themes panel until you find the blog layout sections, which are going to be somewhere kind of in the middle to bottom. So here we have blog alternating, grid, masonry, and so on. And under the section for the layout that you are currently using, so in this case, that would be grid, you can go ahead and go in and change the colors even further. To do so, just click on the little circle color swatch to the right of the element that you want to customize. You can then choose from any of the colors in your custom color palette, or click on custom and use the color picker to choose a completely unique color. Additionally, you can further customize the fonts on this blog overview page by again clicking on the paintbrush icon in the top right-hand corner, and this time clicking on the Fonts tab, and then heading into Assign Styles, which is at the very bottom of this panel. You can then scroll down this Assign Styles panel until you find the blog sections, which will again be separated by layout. And here you can further customize the font of your blog title, the excerpt if you've chosen to show one, and any other metadata that you've chosen to toggle on. Under each option, you can choose from the heading or paragraph or miscellaneous text styles that you've already set up for your website. Or you can click on custom and choose a completely custom font with custom settings, completely different from anything that you already have. You can also customize the size by choosing one of your preset heading or paragraph sizes, or choosing, again, a completely custom size. Once you're happy with how this blog post section looks, you can then start filling out the rest of your overview page by adding page sections above and below. So you can just add a regular blank Squarespace section. You can add one of the pre-existing title sections and just start adding to make it really custom to your business and your blog. You can add things like an intro section, a popular post section, a freebie download section, a newsletter sign up. Literally, you can add so many things to this blog page. And of course, when you are happy, go ahead and click save before exiting out of editing mode. Now let's go ahead and dive into blog content. So this tab is where you can manage all of your individual blog posts. Any post that you've created, whether it's still a draft, scheduled for another date, or fully published, is going to show up in this tab. Once you have a ton of blog posts stacked up here, you can search for a specific one by using this search bar up here at the top, or you can also filter through your drafts, your scheduled posts, and your published posts by clicking on this filter by drop down here. You also have the option to select individual posts or even multiple posts at a time by clicking on this little checkbox to the left of the post. And then you have the option to delete the selected posts by clicking delete down here at the bottom, or you can move them to a different blog or collection if you have multiple on your website. Adding a new post to your blog content is super simple. All you need to do is click on the plus icon here in the right-hand corner, and the new post will automatically open up right into editing mode. You can go ahead and directly edit the post title and body text just by clicking into that section and typing in what you want to type. And then to further edit the look and structure of your blog post, go ahead and hover over the post and click on Edit section in the top right-hand corner. Under the Format tab, you can adjust some things like the width, the alignment of your text, the positioning of some items, and you can also choose to toggle on or off some additional elements. And at the very bottom, you can also adjust the spacing of your header to your body text. And then under the Colors tab, you can go ahead and again choose from one of your existing color themes for this post. Just keep in mind that changing the color themes on a post and changing the settings underneath format is going to apply to every single one of your blog posts, not just the one that you are currently editing. So just make sure that when you are making these customizations, you are making decisions that you are okay with for all of your blog posts across the board. And again, if you'd like to even further customize the colors for the blog post, you can go ahead and click on the paintbrush icon, click on the Colors tab, and then head into the theme that you're currently using. You can then scroll down in the color theme section until you find the blog post area, which will be this section at the very bottom that just says blog post. Here you can further customize the colors for your title, some metadata, as well as a few other elements. You can also further customize the fonts like we did before by clicking into the Fonts tab in your Site Styles panel, and then clicking on Assign Styles at the bottom. You'll then scroll down until, again, you find the blog post section, which is this one at the very bottom of all of the other blogs, and you can customize the fonts of these elements further. But again, remember that further customizing the fonts and the colors like I just showed you is going to affect all blog posts, not just the one that you're currently looking at. So just keep that in mind when making those kinds of customizations. You can also completely edit and customize the blog post itself by adding any additional blocks that you want to the page. You can add things like images, videos, text, buttons, anything that you can add throughout your website, you can add and move around your blog post. But keep in mind that currently all Squarespace blogs use the Classic Editor, even if you're in version 7.1. So if you've never used the Classic Editor before, in order to add a new block, you'll hover over the section that you want to add above or below and click on the little plus icon. The regular block pop-up will then appear, and you can go ahead and click the block that you want to add, and it will show up in your blog post. You can fill out your blog post with a lot of different content to make it fun and engaging for your viewer, rather than just having plain old boring text. When you're done customizing your blog post, you can either just simply save your changes and keep the post as a draft, or you can choose to save and publish the post or schedule it for another time. I'm just right now going to save it and keep it as a draft, and then we'll exit out of editing mode. Now, the last little order of business here is to go ahead and check the unique settings for the blog post that you just created. And this is something that you should access and check each time you add a new blog post just to make sure that it is set up exactly the way that you want. So to access your blog post settings, you'll hover over the post that you want to check out and then click on the three dots to the right of the post name and click on settings. And this settings window will go ahead and pop up. In the content tab, you'll be able to add the featured image for your post. And this is kind of like the post's thumbnail. So this is the image that's going to display on your blog overview page along with the post title and any other information that you've decided to make available. And this is also the image that will be shown if the post is ever added to social media. To upload your own image, you can click on Add Image or just simply drag and drop the image into this box. You can also click on Search for Images to find a free stock image. So if you click on free images, you'll be able to search either in this search bar here or just start scrolling through all of these amazing images that are all powered by Unsplash. Find one that you like and go ahead and click it to use. Below that, you'll find an area where you can input your excerpt, and your excerpt is going to show up on your blog overview page if you have that option toggled on. So just keep that in mind that if you do turn that on, but you don't input anything here, nothing is going to show up on your overview page. Including an excerpt is also good for SEO. So we do always recommend writing one here, even if you don't plan on showing it, just to keep up with SEO and good website practices. And this also doesn't have to be anything super crazy. It can just be 1 to 3 short sentences giving a little insight into what the post might be about. Below that, you'll find your post URL, and we recommend customizing this URL here and keeping it down to just a few words. Sometimes your title might be a little bit lengthy, in which case that's not a great URL to have. So the post URL can be something like a simplified version of the title or even just some really good keywords for that blog post. And then at the very bottom of this tab, you have the option to either duplicate or delete the post completely. And the duplicate option can actually come in really handy if you want to make a blog post template, or if you just really like the layout of the post that you just created and you want to use it for another one. You can go ahead and just click duplicate and it will automatically create a copy of the blog post. Under the Options tab, you'll see Status, and this is where you can choose when and how your blog post goes live. So you can keep the post as a draft, and as long as the post is a draft, it will not show up on your blog overview page, so you can save it and edit later. You can mark the post as needs review, which you might not necessarily ever need this, but if you did have a large team of authors or editors that review content, this could come in handy. You could immediately choose to publish the post so that it's live on your blog, or you can schedule it for another date and time. Next up is tags and categories. Categories are super helpful for organizing your blog content. You'll want to create categories that describe the general topics or subjects that you cover within your blog. So for example, if you had a recipe blog, your categories might be breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For this blog, our category might be Squarespace. Now, when somebody comes to your website looking for blog content having to do with Squarespace, they can click on this category and they'll be able to find this blog post as well as any other blog post that has been given the Squarespace category. Tags, on the other hand, are kind of like another version of categories that you can use for extra filtering purposes if needed. So for example, this blog post might fall under that general Squarespace category, but it might also be specifically about version 7.1, and it might also specifically cover blogging. So we can create those two unique tags to allow for even further organizing and filtering. We personally only really use tags to separate or filter content that we might be pulling into a summary block or something like that so that we can get super specific about the blog content that we are highlighting in certain places of our website. So if you have a lot of blog content and planning on doing something similar, we would really recommend using tags for that. Otherwise, we mainly just recommend using categories so that you can organize your content really nicely and allow for your visitors to easily be able to find specific content. And you can just leave tags blank if you don't feel that you have a need for them. You can also choose to toggle on or off comments for this particular blog post. And you can choose to make the post a featured post if you want to be able to highlight it in a summary block or somewhere else on your website in the future. And again, because SEO is so important, under the SEO title, you can customize your title as well as your SEO description. We tend to leave the title blank because Squarespace will just pull in your blog title, and that's usually okay. But if you want this to be something different, go ahead and add a title here. And then for the description, a really easy hack is copying in the excerpt that you wrote under the content tab into this area right here. Just make sure if you do that, that there are some good keywords included. And those are the main settings that you should definitely check for each and every blog post that you add. Again, these other tabs aren't necessarily super important, especially if you're just starting out and want to keep things pretty basic. But go ahead and look through and see if anything is relevant to you and just get familiar with them in case you ever need them in the future. Okay, and that is the basics of blogging in Squarespace 7.1. Blogging in version 7.0 is a little bit simpler, so let's go ahead and dive into everything you need to know for blogging in Squarespace version 7.0. To add a new blog post to your main blog panel, you'll want to click on the plus icon in the very right-hand corner. And then instead of the blog post just simply opening up in the editor, this little edit post window is going to pop up. So it might be a little weird and confusing at first, but it functions exactly the same. So just like in 7.1, how we had all of these different categories for settings, content options, SEO, etc., all of those same tabs are here in 7.0 as well. It just looks a little bit different. So under this first content tab, you'll be able to enter your actual content. So you can enter your blog post title, and then you can go ahead and enter your body copy here. And you can even go ahead and add additional blocks right in this window. So all you have to do is click on the plus icon, just like you would on your regular editing page, and add in any kind of block that you want to add. This is just to kind of get you started. You will also be able to view your blog post as it's actually going to look on your website and make tweaks to the blocks and the content there before publishing. So we'll go into that in just a little bit. But to get you started, go ahead and add in your content, add any blocks that you want to add, and just get that started here. And then at the bottom of this content tab underneath the main body copy window, you'll have these main options that we just went over in 7.1. So to add a tag to your post, just click on plus. And in this little window here, you can go ahead and add a tag. It'll show up right here, and you can also click X to delete it. Same with categories. To add a category, click on the plus, create category, and then type in your category here and click enter. You can also click right here where it says comments and choose to turn those on or off. And you can click on where it says draft and choose to keep your post as a draft, mark it as needs review, schedule it for another time, or publish it immediately. Under the options tab, which is up next, you'll be able to add your featured image, customize your post URL. You can customize your author if you have multiple authors added to your website. And down here at the bottom, you can go ahead and add your excerpt. And again, choose to make this post a featured post if you'd like or not. Again, you can go ahead and directly upload an image into this box for your featured image, or you can click on search for image. Again, go to free images. This time, let's go ahead and type in something in the search bar to see what comes up. Search and find a picture that you'd like to add as your featured image. And then under the SEO tab, you can again go ahead and customize your SEO title if you'd like, and your SEO description. Like I said before, you can go ahead and just copy in that excerpt that you added right here if you want a little easy hack. But if you do that, just make sure that it has some good keywords and is good for following SEO instructions. And then at the bottom of this entire edit post window, regardless of which tab you're clicked into, you'll have the ability to cancel if you want to just discard the work or you decided that you don't want to make any changes. You can delete the post entirely. You can save and exit the post to keep it as a draft, or you can just save and immediately publish the post. So for now, I'm going to keep my post as a draft and just click save to exit. Now, like I said before, sometimes we just need to see the post as it will actually look on our website, which can be a little bit hard to do when we're working in that smaller pop-up window that we were just in. So to do this, once you have saved and exited out of that window, you'll notice that the new blog draft will show up in your main blog panel over here on the left-hand side. If you don't already see the blog post itself over here on the right-hand side, just click on the name of the blog and it should open it up. Then once the blog post has opened on the right-hand side, to edit it, hover over the post and click on Edit. You'll then be able to edit any of the existing content that you added while in that initial editing window. And you'll also be able to click on the plus icons and add some new blocks wherever you want. And of course, when you're happy with the edits and changes you've made, click Save to exit. You also have the option to customize and adjust the appearance, the spacing, and positioning of some elements on your blog post in your site styles. Now, to do this, we're going to want to make sure that this blog post is actually visible in our blog, which means that it needs to be live or published. So to publish it, I'm going to hover over the blog, which is now in my panel on the left-hand side, and click on Edit, which is going to reopen this initial editing window. To make it live, you can either click on where it says draft and choose published, or just click on save and publish, and it will automatically publish to your blog and make it live. Now, when I click here on our main blog name and this main blog page shows up, you'll see that our live blog post appears. So now to access your site styles, you'll want to navigate back into the design tab. Make sure that you're clicked onto the actual blog post so that the appropriate settings will show up in your site styles. And then once you see your blog post over here on the right, click on Site Styles. You can then scroll down in this Site Styles panel until you find the blog sections, which are usually a little bit closer down to the bottom underneath the mobile settings. And here you'll be able to toggle on and off certain elements. You can remove the author or the date or switch the positioning of those things. You can customize the alignment of your content and the spacing. And you might even be able to customize the font and the color of some items depending on the 7.0 template that you're using. And then when you're happy with the changes that you've made, go ahead and click Save to exit. And just remember that these blog post settings are going to apply to every single blog on your website, not just the one that you are currently on at the moment of customizing. So just make sure that you are choosing design settings that you are going to be happy with amongst all of your blogs, not just that one particular one. Okay, now that you know how to add and customize an individual blog post, you're going to want to make sure that your main blog page, or the page where each of your blog posts are going to be displayed, is taken care of. The catch here is that the look and available features of your main blog page are going to depend on the Squarespace 7.0 template that you're using. And there are so many 7.0 templates and they all have different features. So it's really hard for us to be able to show you exactly how to customize that for each one. For example, we are currently using the Brine template. And on this main overview page, we have the option to edit the intro. So you'll see if I hover up here, kind of at the bottom of the site header, this little intro section will pop up and I can click edit there and add some text or some images or anything like that above the existing blog post section. So this comes in handy if you want to add a little intro or if you want to add a separate image or link before people access your blogs. But again, not every single template is going to have that. I think for the most part, a lot of them do. So you can always check to make sure if you hover over this particular area, this little intro section might show up. And if that's the case, you can go ahead and click edit and add in a little welcome intro or intro to your blog. There's also a chance that the particular template that you're using might have even more customizations for the blog. You might be able to add additional sections or more content around the existing blog post section. You just won't know that until you are in your unique template and exploring around a little bit. So our recommendation would just be to do just that. Go in and see what your template offers and then play around with the different options. Another place where you might find some additional blog page customization settings is back in your site styles. So again, we'll go ahead and navigate back to our design tab. You'll want to make sure that you're on your main blog page and that you have at least one blog post live so that you can see what kind of customizations are being made. Click on Site Styles and then scroll down until you find the blog settings. You can also go ahead and just type blog up here and those settings will automatically pop. You can then scroll through and see what customizations are available for your particular template. You can see for this one, we're in the Brine template. You can choose to turn on and off some of the metadata information. You can change the layout of the list if you have multiple blog posts here. You can choose from a regular grid or a stacked layout, which is just going to stack the blog posts on top of one another. And we can also change some of the fonts and colors here, but this might look totally different for you depending on which template you're in. So again, come in here, play around, and see what is available to you. In Squarespace 7.1, you have the option to actually monetize your blog by placing it behind a paywall so that visitors have to pay in order to access your content. So under this pricing plans tab, you can go ahead and create a pricing plan with various features like the option to charge a one-time fee, a payment plan, or even an ongoing subscription fee. You can include digital products or downloads included along with your pricing plan. You can set up sign-up dates and deadlines to create excitement and some demand around accessing your content. And once you create your pricing plan, you'll be able to place this information on a sales page or an individual section of your website so that visitors can easily learn about your offer and sign up really conveniently. Once you create a pricing plan, Squarespace will also automatically create a paywall, which will be connected to the content that the pricing plan is for. So if somebody were to land on your blog, which is now behind a paywall, this page is going to show up, letting them know how much it costs in order to access this content and what they get for that price. The last thing I wanted to show you before wrapping up this video is what it looks like to actually link your blog categories to your main website navigation. So once you've created your blog and have a handful of blog posts published, you'll want a way for visitors to actually be able to find and search through your content. And one way that you can do this is by linking your actual blog post categories to your menu. So you'll see up here, I have one tab called Squarespace, and this is actually the Squarespace category that I've created for my blog posts that I've linked to my main menu. So when I click on Squarespace, it takes me directly to my main blog, but only the posts that are categorized as Squarespace are going to show up. You can also create a drop-down menu for your blog. So you'll see here, I have a tab called Blog. And when I hover over that, all these different categories show up. So I have one for all posts. And if I click that, all of my blog posts are going to show up under my blog page and people can click through and view them as they please. If I click on blogging, again, only the posts that are categorized as blogging are going to show up, and so on. You can do that with all of the different categories that you've created for your blog. And it works exactly the same on 7.0 as well. You'll see up here in my menu, I have a blog dropdown. And if I click on the blogging category, only the posts that are categorized as blogging will show up. Same goes for my other category, which is Squarespace, and so on. So this will be kind of your next step once you are ready to have people start viewing your blog content. And we do have another full YouTube video explaining exactly how to link your blog post categories, and that'll be linked in the description below this video if you want to go ahead and check that out once you are ready to publish your blog. And that is really all there is to it for blogging in both Squarespace 7.0 and 7.1. It's really honestly so easy, and once you get the basics down, there's a ton of ways to progress and grow your blog via Squarespace. You can also always look into using a template if all of this seems just a bit too overwhelming, and all of our premium Squarespace templates come with blogs built in, and they make the process of starting your own content journey that much more simple. So if that interests you, be sure to check out our premium Squarespace templates, which will be linked in the description below, as well as in the blog post that goes along with this video. I hope this was a super helpful introduction into Squarespace blogging for you guys. If you want more blogging specific videos, be sure to subscribe and follow along with our channel. We have a ton of other blog specific content, and we post new videos every single week. So we'll see you in the next one.